The most passionate sporting fans in the world are football fans. There's little doubt in that. They somehow feel invested in every game, much like stakeholders of the team or clubs. So much so that the line that separates those on the field from those off it gets blurred. Blurred to a football fan, of course, and quite often. But what happened in Abu Dhabi some nights ago was rather outrageous. After the Al-Ittihad and Al-Hilal Super Cup game, a spectator whipped Al-Ittihad striker, Hamdallah, who was already frustrated after the 4-1 loss. He was involved in a verbal battle with the spectator, and just when he thought it would die out, the fan took out his whip and struck Hamdallah with it. Here's what went down.
Football players and football fans, two entities who cannot exist without one another. It's the synergy between the two that makes football a global sport. From cheers that ring across the stadium when fans clamour to catch a glimpse of their favourite football star, to the loudest boos that fans greet teams and players with who have utterly disappointed them. It's the fans who make the experience of watching football most delightful. But stuck in between these extremities are the emotional spectators, a section of obsessive fans who want their team to win at any cost. And the fervour with which they adore the team they support is as deep-rooted as the hatred towards the opposition and their supporters. Al-Ittihad lost to Al-Hilal 4-1 in the Saudi Super Cup game in Abu Dhabi. Al-Ittihad's forward Abderrazak Hamdallah scored the only goal for his side in the 21st minute, but couldn't prevent his club from a 4-1 thrashing. After the game was over, Hamdallah was the victim of a fan's ire too. In the video going viral, Hamdallah can be seen getting into a tense exchange with the spectator. Frustrated by the verbal battle, Hamdallah then threw water at the thob-wearing fan, and the fan didn't take that action too kindly. He responded by striking the Moroccan with what appears to be a whip. Spectators and players had to intervene to separate the two men before it turned into a fist fight. Saudi Arabia Football Association was quick to condemn the altercation.
Football in Saudi Arabia is a family game, and thankfully, fan disorder is extremely rare. It's why the actions of this so-called fan go against all that Saudi football represents, and we completely condemn the incident. There will be a thorough review of the Spectator Code of Conduct. The review will ensure updated rules and regulations that are put in place to swiftly and effectively impose suitable penalties to help avoid any repeat of such incidents.
This isn't the first instance of fans getting violent after a game. Quite recently, we saw the massive brawl between Hajduk Split fans and Dinamo Zagreb players. The Croatian Super Cup semi-final saw just how hostile fans could get. After Zagreb's 1-0 win, Split fans stormed onto the pitch to attack the Zagreb players, and the matter escalated outside the ground where policemen got injured while trying to stop the fight. And this violent mob mentality isn't just with Croatia or Saudi Arabia football fans. Their neighbour Turkey isn't devoid of such spectators. Supporters of Turkish club Trabzonspor stormed the pitch following their club's 2-3 defeat to Fenerbahce. A massive brawl broke out right on the pitch. Europe's biggest leagues too have faced the brunt of it, and marquee clubs like Arsenal have been on the receiving end. The Arsenal goalkeeper was attacked by a Tottenham fan during the North London derby that took place more than a year ago. Ramsdale was kicked in the back shortly after Arsenal beat Tottenham 2-0. The assaulter was Joseph Watts, and while he thought he hid his identity by covering his face, cameras were quick to spot him, and Watts had to pay $126 for his brazen act. He was banned from the stadium and had to do 150 hours of community work to earn his presence in the stadium again. And these kinds of hostilities are a common occurrence in the biggest of rivalries too, just like the Real Madrid-Barcelona games, the El Clasico. Just like how they produce footballing spectacles, the biggest rivals in the Spanish league have some of the most aggressive fan bases too. Pepe Reina, while playing for Barcelona back in 2001, was also the victim of a similar attack. He was punched from a Real Madrid fan who came out from the stands. The attacker was punished with a fine of over $2,000 and lost his season ticket. Irrespective of the country, irrespective of the stature of the league, the players involved, fan aggression has become a very common sight. While football is nothing without the emotions of the fans, their loyalty towards the club and the passion they display, the fact that a sport can turn into a war zone in the blink of an eye seems just as horrific. And in a world that's growing more polarized by the day, such instances are only bound to increase and intensify.